I think every win is a good win. Obviously, especially with the season we've had at this point, we always are going to be happy about a victory. But, I also told them, we tried to warn them at halftime, hey, you can't just come out and trade baskets, and we've got to have a 0-0 mentality as far as the scoreboard. And I thought we kind of played to the fact that we were up 30 or whatever it was. And part of that was I put some young guys in that need to get minutes and need to get experience, but unfortunately we kept turning the ball over, so I had to put some of our older guys back in. But really good win, but I told those guys it's a quick turnaround against a really competitive North Alabama team at home. So, I told them, get something to eat with your family that's in town. For those of you that have them tonight, we'll have curfew and get off their feet, and then we'll get to work tomorrow and hopefully figuring out how to beat North Alabama on the road.
I think they shot 4% in the first half. How much of that was defense and how much of it was not me?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of both. Coach Raheem obviously is rebuilding that program like we're trying to rebuild this program. So I think they've got some guys that, they're learning how to be good players. Obviously, Hooker's got a lot of experience. They've got some guys that are experienced, but they've got a lot of guys that are doing this for the first time, a lot like some of our players are. So that'll be a really hard game on the road. If you remember, we beat Stetson by 40 here last year and then lost on the road. So that'll be the battle when we go to play Kennesaw in Atlanta, that I'll be telling these guys, hey, man, if you take them lightly, we're going to have a problem. So, I thought our defense did a good job, but now I also thought they just missed some open looks in the first half, that it wasn't necessarily we were playing great defensively as much as they missed some looks.
After saying, there's 2 seasons to every season, non-conference and conference, how good does it feel to start conference play 3-2?
It feels a lot better than 0-3 felt last year. I'll tell you that much. We talked about that when we started. This is a brand new season, and we've tried some different things lineup-wise. We are playing a little bit differently than we did before. I knew that we would have a chance to kind of get our legs under us a little bit once we got to conference play. Obviously would have liked to have gotten them under in the non-conference play, but these guys know. I mean, we talk about it all the time. There's 3 seasons. There's non-conference, there's conference, and there's a conference tournament. So we now have a winning record for the first time on the year in our second season, and we'll do as much as we can to win as many games during season 2 to prepare for season 3, which will be the conference tournament.
Let's get some questions for the players and get them out of here.
Caleb, just your thoughts. You've been playing pretty well lately and scoring some points. How does that feel? Get you guys at 3.
It definitely feels good to be 3-2, most importantly. And I think just seeing shots go in the hoop is kind of just builds confidence. I think some shots have been falling a little bit, and then just I think most importantly taking care of stuff defensively. So that's the most important thing.
Zach, your thoughts too on how Caleb's been doing. You guys have come up together and
definitely proud of him. He's playing his butt off right now, and we need it, and I think it's good going down the stretch and conference play. So
This kind of game, Zach, where you're up by a lot, you finish with a double-digit win. What can that do to kind of give you guys some confidence as conference play continues?
Definitely builds a lot of confidence going into games after, because obviously you did some things right. You also want to clean up the bad things, but you're right, it builds a ton of confidence winning by such a large margin.
Caleb, I have to ask about your hair decision. Why did you cut it off? And
Long story short, I don't know if you could really realize it, but when I had it in the bun, it was kind of dreaded. So long story short, I undreaded it over Christmas break. Too much hair was lost. I couldn't play with it with the bun, so I decided to cut it. So that's the short story.
Zach, what do you think of that look?
I think it's a good look. It's different. It took me a while to get used to it, but I think it's fresh. I like it. It's clean.
Took me a long time to get used to the bun, so I'm a big fan of the new look.
Yeah, especially seeing him with that hairdo back at SFCA,
No question. His hairdo changed several times when I was recruiting him, actually. That's a whole nother story.
Michael, how deep is the ASUN this year? Not deep. How close is everyone together in terms of kind of jockeying for those 4 spots to have a home game come conference tournament time? Because it seems like there's a lot of teams that are real close to each other. You
Yeah.
being one of them.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. This league is so different than it was, in the last 3 to 5 years. When Coach Enfield and I first came in the league, you're talking about a really deep Mercer, East Tennessee State, Belmont, South Carolina upset, and it was anybody's league. And people forget this. Even the year we made the run to the Sweet 16, we didn't win the regular season. Mercer did, and we were very fortunate. North Florida had us down in the conference tournament that year. We almost got beat. This reminds me of that year. The teams at the top are really good. I think Liberty and North Florida have really, really played well. The teams at the bottom, I know Kennesaw didn't play great tonight. Their record may not say it, but they can beat a team on a given night. Stetson went and beat North Alabama on the road tonight. This is no longer the league of, hey, if you play well tonight, you're going to win. I mean, at any point, anybody can jump up and beat you. And so I think there is a lot of parity in the league. I think obviously everybody's chasing Liberty, and then after that, North Florida. But one game can change the whole standings, and that's why I think it's so important for our guys to lock in on each game, because each game, one loss could determine home court in the tournament versus being a 7 or 8 seed, So that's why we talk about a 1-0 mindset. But I do think, it's great for the league, but I think the league is starting to get back to a really healthy point, where it's not just 1 or 2 teams as it was there for a few years.
You're going to face North Alabama, as you mentioned. They're coming off a loss, so they're probably not going to be very happy. But you guys played well tonight and did what you needed to do too. Just your thoughts on that part of
Yeah,
what you're going to face.
Coach Pujol's a good friend of mine. I actually talked to him the other day. I think he's done a tremendous job with that program in 2 years, and especially a program that, they're not postseason eligible for 2 more years. To get those guys to compete like they do, I mean, they really, really play hard. And that's kind of his personality. He's a tough, gritty guy. I think those guys have really taken on his personality. I think that's one of the tougher places to play in the league. I don't know what happened tonight. Obviously, I haven't seen the tape. But as you guys saw, Stetson's good. I mean, there's a reason that it took, a really big shot by him and some very big plays by Zach, getting to the line and really carrying us, these two, in that game. So I think it'll be a really tough one, but we'll go home and watch the tape tonight, give these guys to scout and do everything we can to go on the road and get a win.
Kind of piggybacking off that question, they've lost North Alabama's lost 3 out of 4. How do you guys feel going into the game? Winning back-to-back games for the first time, I think, this season.
Yeah, to be honest with you, in conference play, I think you can kind of throw all that out of the window. You saw the last night. I think it was. Carolina throws the shot in against Kentucky. I mean, Clemson beats Duke and North Carolina in the same weekend. I mean, that had never happened in the history of Clemson's program as far as beating Carolina. So at any point in conference play, especially in a good league like this, I think anybody can jump up and beat anybody. So it's great that we've won 2, but I told our guys, hey, let's don't be satisfied. Let's be hungry to go get 3. And to be honest with you, I've been so locked in on Kennesaw, I didn't even know those guys had lost a few. But if anything, they'll be that much more motivated. And we talk sometimes teams like that. It's almost like a wounded animal. When they're wounded, they're even more dangerous. So we've got to go in there super locked in, super focused, and play as well as we can play.
Anything else?
Coach and players as well. So Jalen Warren, last game looks like overtime happens and he just takes it over 8 points, I think, in just the overtime period. And he did that as well against FAU earlier this year. What is it about him that he relishes that, or what do you see in him when he's on the floor doing that? Or
I'll take that first in these guys. We brought Jalen here to be a primary ball handler and playmaker. He's the closest thing, I'd say, to a true point guard on the roster. Caleb's done some point guard duties. I think Jalen Harper's going to grow into that position, but right now he's still learning and growing. So, I said this after the FAU game and after the other night. I thought Jalen played really well. I still don't know that we've seen him at his best. I think he's still growing and still developing, but I expect the performance he gave in both those games from him, just like I expect him to step up like he did against Stetson and Caleb to make that shot. I mean, he's one of the guys that we're really counting on in addition to these two.
All right.
Guys good?
Thank you.
Thanks so much
Thank
for
you.
coming
Thank
tonight.
you.
We appreciate it.